Hi everyone, I'm Irv Jeffries, and today I'm going to be walking you through my Unity Essentials project. We're going to start here on the main menu, where I've decorated the main menu however I want. That's pretty simple, just environment kind of stuff. We're going to switch into game mode here. Going into the first scene, we have Playground, which is 3D Essentials. No, that's Editor Essentials, my bad. Essentially, here, all we learned how to do was hop around the playground and how to manipulate things within Unity. And we put together that slide, which was cool. We also found a code, which is what you saw prompting us, with little numbers in different places like that. But I don't remember what order the numbers are in or where they all are. It's been a minute since I was on Editor Essentials. But that's scene one. Back to the main menu. Going into scene two, we have the kids' room, which is 3D Essentials. Learned about placing 3D objects and snapping objects to vertex snapping and things like that. Stationary camera in this scene. If you want to better look at that scene, I can fly in here. Learned about gravity, lighting, and that was really cool. I added a little lamp, my own design. Thank you very much. That's the whole scene. Learned about importing custom art, etc., etc. Then going back to the main menu, we audio's not going to work because my bonus scene uses FMOD for audio, so I'm going to take us into the audio scene anyway, which I did complete using Unity's built-in stuff. Um, Background music as a game object, and the boiling pot as an audio source. All really cool stuff here. Audio reverb zones, etc. Back to the main menu again. Programming essentials. This one was fun. I got to get into, actually making things move and having a follow camera. Got to learn how to make these collectibles rotate and how to make them destroy. Um, all really cool. Just mostly provided scripts and editing scripts with that. I can just press escape. I don't know why I keep exiting. Top down to the. This one was fun. We got to get into game design and making games challenging and fun. Um, I forget how to play my own design sometimes. But I guess that's the point, is that it's hard. I guess. But this was fun. I'm saying everything was fun. It was fun. I had a great time doing Unity Essentials and creating my own little micro game at the end. We got to learn 2D animation here to some extent, um, gravity, bounds, rigid bodies, continuing on that kind of stuff, except in 2D. And then my bonus scene, I created like a 3D version of the vacuum game with my own level design and my own lighting and my own sound design. I gave myself a limit of a week or I wouldn't ever actually finish it, but it was fun. I got into UI design kind of like we did with 2D, but that I'll just click it. Right off the bat, you could hear the original music I wrote for this that is largely procedurally generated. Is that the right word? Randomly generated, you know. It's playing. I'll show the FMOD project after this. But right on the screen, we have instructions. I created a little tutorial with a script that controls button inputs as opposed to what appears on the canvas. It's a little vacuum thing. And on move, we hear the vacuum start up. If you run into a wall, you hear that. Just to give the player some feedback as to like, well, you can't keep going this way. No, basic game stuff. And then if we go over here, look out at this gorgeous view and stop, the vacuum transitions to off, and you can have a moment of peace. It's really cute. I'm enjoying being a vacuum and, you know, getting to learn all these different things and implement my own sounds and my own music into the game. That's been a lot of fun, including designing the space and putting lights in the space. Different things like that. The gameplay objective is to literally just be a vacuum, so you won't get too many it's not too interesting, but it's fun to be a vacuum for a little bit, I guess. Anyway, let's go into some of the cool things about this last scene. Oh, you're looking at the grass. Um, First of all, I kind of got into environment building. It's not the classiest environment, but it's low poly trees in an infinite forest with a gorgeous little skybox and some mountains that are also low poly in the background. Just poorly using the elevation tool because they're never gonna be close enough to see those, thankfully. Um, all of these light sources actually have a light source attached to them. This grill, this fire pit, has a particle system attached to it that emits a little smoke as if someone had just been here. Again, all these lights are actual light sources. All these assets came from the Unity asset store. There's my custom art again. Yeah. Hopping into the player, we see that there's the rigid body and box colliders, normal stuff like that. The way I trigger the sounds is everything around the house that I want to trigger a sound, which is mostly just walls. Softer surfaces or surfaces that wouldn't sound as dense and hard don't make sounds because I didn't want them to. I wanted to like program the like wall sound essentially. Um, so going in here, they have box colliders that are triggered, but also if I can find, yeah, there's the rest of them. Box colliders that make the object permanent. When I originally put the box colliders onto the object and set them as triggers, they would make the noise, but they would not be solid anymore. And to my understanding, you could fix this with rigid bodies or box colliders, but I chose box colliders. Both have their pros and cons. Um, my player, let's click on them, see what's going on under the hood. There's a few scripts attached to these where it could all be done in one, but since I'm relatively new at this, I didn't want to go into it just putting everything in one because then I'd get lost, even with notes. But we have a rewritten player movement script for rotation and to like respawn. Oh, that is something I did not show you all. There's a respawn mechanic for this little robot. Blah blah blah. There we go. If I can get him to flip over. Oh, wow. If I could get him to flip over, we should, after a small delay, pop back to the respawn point. This avoids players getting stuck and having to restart the entire game. And that just does that with the script detects if the player has inverted themselves essentially. There's the FMOD motion trigger script, which is the script that controls FMOD when and tells it when the player is moving versus when the player stops. Um, Studio listener box collider trigger that triggers the hit sounds as you run into things. And then there's, of course, the background music. Um, all really frustrating to figure out for a um, noob, essentially. But now that I know it, it'll be that much easier the second time I do it. Um, what else is in here? You do so much that you forget what all you did. Um, anyway, I promised I'd show the FMOD um, project for this. Awesome, that didn't reveal my screen. Here's the FMOD project for this. Very simple. All my assets are broken down into musical elements and then background music and stuff like that. The main events are the background loop, which is generating quote unquote the music from my own clips, and it'll play through these. Each of these has a different probability chance, and then within that probability chance, there's the multis that have a different probability of playing from there. Um, the player collisions is just an action sheet. One of these random sounds that I designed will play when you hit a wall. And then the player cycle is also pretty simple. There's the vacuum on sound that transitions into the actual vacuum loop, and then when the vacuum goes off with the parameter motion, um, the it transitions to vacuum off sound. Um, Very simple stuff overall, but also really fun to mess with and change parameters and translate the parameters from C sharp to FMOD to Unity and back and forth and back and forth. So, um, yeah, that's what I have been doing the last 2 weeks. A week of Unity Essentials and then a week of development, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. I'm going to position us oh so kindly to look at this gorgeous sunset. And oh well, that's not what I want. It's just I'm gonna read over my list of the steps I took to develop my bonus scene. Day one, we did environmental sculpting, asset collection, world lighting, and world color adjustment. An early level design, really sculpting out the actual house that you're going around. Day two, I finished the level design, started decorating the environment with props, designed the lighting on the inside of the house. Day three, continued decorating with props, designed the particles for the fire pit, scripted for the player movement and respawn with delay, and started play testing and making sure I couldn't ram through walls. I adjusted a lot of different refresh settings and refresh rates to make sure I couldn't just ram through a wall. I'm sure if you really tried, you still could, but it was really bad when we were first starting out. Day four, I implemented the and created the UI, um, adjusted the player scripting some more, cleaned up the scene a little bit. There were some things that just weren't working in the scene that I removed, and tested the inversion mechanic in the player script, and then adjusted like speed and mass of the player character. Day five, I mapped out the story a little bit. The story didn't make it into this version of the mini game, just because I wanted to post this at the end of the week. So here we are. Um, I cataloged needs for sound and designed the sounds for the player character. Day six, I implemented those sounds, scripted them, created the FMOD project, and it exported sounds from Cubase and into FMOD. Day seven, I continued scripting the player audio. It took a while to get all the player sounds to work the way they were supposed to, with like making sure that they checked the playback state before starting another one so they wouldn't all pile on top of each other and crash the game, making sure that it wasn't consistently playing every time it detected motion, but only if the motion changed, stuff like that. Um, did collision detection and start and stop audio, which is the transition sounds for the player characters. And then today, in addition to this video, I finished up collision detection, added colliders to all the objects, and put in the background music. Um, yeah, this has been my Unity Essentials pathway, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.